Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be sharing with you this delicious recipe for this bread that's made out of bulgur, stuffed with tahini, onion, and curry. They're basically like small pies that you can have anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and they are 100% vegan. So let's get started and I will show you what you will need to make this recipe. We're going to need 5 pounds of onion, and I'm going to need to cut this onion into small pieces. The smaller the better, and I'm using this cutter right here because it is easier for me to cut it because I'm doing 5 pounds of onion and it's going to be cut to this size right here. You could also cut your onion with a knife. Make sure you chop it into small pieces like that. I'm adding 3 tablespoons of sea salt. Mix well and let it sit aside for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, I'm going to get a strainer and a piece of cloth. This is a cheesecloth that you could find anywhere. And I have a strainer and a bowl underneath the strainer. And I put my onion on top of that cheesecloth. And what I'm going to do is squeeze all the liquid out of the onion. It is very important that you get rid of all the liquid. As you can see, there's a lot of liquid in the onion, and just squeeze as much as you can. There is one other way that you could do it. You can just put the onion down same way like that and add something heavy on top of it. What I did here, I filled a pot with water and I'm just gonna put it on top of it for the next 40 minutes, and that should get rid of any liquid that's left in the onion, just like this. Now for the dough, we will need 1.5 cups of fine bulgur, normally used for tabula, but we're using it for this bread. I'm adding 4 cups of warm water to it, and I'm gonna let it sit aside for 30 minutes. This is after 30 minutes. I got my yeast active, and what I did here, I had 1 cup of hot water where you could put your finger into it where you can't burn yourself. I added 1 tablespoon of sugar and 1.5 tablespoon of dry yeast, covered it for 10 minutes, and it was ready like that. Here is my bulgur that's already soaked in water for 30 minutes, and I have 2.5 pounds of flour. And I also have 1/2 cup of vegetable oil and 1 tablespoon of fennel seeds powder. And I have salt, and we're gonna use some caraway seeds. I'm gonna start by adding 1.5 tablespoon of salt to my flour. I'm adding 1 tablespoon of caraway seeds. And then 1 tablespoon of fennel seeds powder. And then 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. And here's my bulgur that was soaked in water. Just gonna mix everything together, and I'm adding my active yeast here, and I'm just going to give it a really good mix. And I'm adding 1 cup of warm water. Don't add the 1 cup of water all at one time. For me, it's okay because I'm used to this, but add 1/2 cup and feel the dough. If it's still hard, add the other half. Now I'm going to move my dough into a clean bowl, something deeper, and make sure you put some oil in the bottom. That way the dough doesn't stick to the bowl. I'm going to cover it, and I will leave it under a blanket, cover it with a blanket for the next 2.5 hours to 3 hours, depending on the room temperature in your house. While I'm waiting for my dough to rise, I'm going to get the stuffing ready. And I'm just gonna take the onion, put it in a bowl. And we're going to need 1.5 cup of tahini, thick tahini, salt, and curry. So I'm adding the 1 tablespoon of salt. Then I'm going to add the 4 tablespoons of curry. I know I'm showing I only put 2 here, but I did put 4. You need that flavor in there. You will need the 1.5 cup of tahini. Make sure you use the very bottom of the jar of the tahini because you do want the tahini to be a little thicker, and make sure you get good quality tahini because your stuffing is basically onion, tahini, and curry. That's all it is, and you want to make sure it does taste good. Mix everything really good and leave it in the fridge for the next 45 minutes. And this is after 45 minutes. What I have here, 1/2 cup of water and some tomato paste, about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste mixed well, and I also have some oil in a bowl, and I got my stuffing ready, it's chilled. I have my baking sheet, which I put some oil on top, and I have my dough. It's done, and it took 2.5 hours. I took a portion of the dough and I put some oil on my countertop because It's easier if you put some oil on the countertop to handle the dough. Also put some oil on your hand. It will be much easier for you to handle the dough. I cut the dough into small round circles. I'm gonna create balls kind of the size of a 2.5-inch ball, and I put some oil underneath. I flattened out the dough to 1/2 inch thickness. Filled it with the stuffing, put a good amount of stuffing, and then close it like that, flip it, put it in a baking sheet. Here's one more example here. You just flatten out the dough, fill it, close it, and then flip it upside down and put it in a baking sheet. And here in the baking sheet, make sure you seal everything. You need some oil underneath, oil on your fingers, and gently with your fingers press down. And I'm just going to flatten out the ball that I made with my fingers gently, especially the edges. And you do the same thing here, just gently with your fingers press down until you make a flat circle that is about a 1/2 inch thick. And that's about it. Make sure you preheat your oven on 470 degrees. And I have it on convection bake, 470. I'm just going to brush the top of the bread with the tomato paste and water. And I'm going to put these guys in the oven for the next 15 to 17 minutes. And depending on your oven too, just keep an eye on them. Don't walk away. Here it is, 470 degrees convection bake. 15 minutes, that's how long it took for my bread to bake. And here we are. It smells really, really good, and the taste is just so good. Oh my gosh, you guys have to try this recipe. I hope you guys get to try it. Leave a comment, let me know how it came out, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.